Welcome back to First Things First. Undisputed coming up in about 11 minutes. Joy, no matter how bad the weather is out there, you don't know what's going on here. We are in the middle of a blue. The three of us may be here camping out all night. Anyway, how you doing? What are you talking about today?
Good morning, Jenna. The weather is never actually that bad here. You know what? I had to put on a light jacket this morning.
Oh, please, with the light jacket. Please. We're in parkas. We're in, like, Gore-Tex parkas.
I need Richard Sherman to negotiate me a contract back in LA.
Coming up on Undisputed, do you trust James Harden to lead the Rockets to the finals? And will the Jets draft Baker Mayfield? We'll discuss all of that. Plus, Hall of Famer Rod Woodson and Rob Parker are in studio with us. Undisputed is coming up next. Jenna, back to you.
All right, Joy, thank you very much. Stay warm out there. Two of the hottest teams in the history of the universe, also the NBA this season, faced off last night. Blazers, winners of 13 in a row. Rockets, winners of 22 of their last 23. One of the lesser-known rules in the NBA, game can't end in a tie. So this one went to the Rockets, thanks in large part to James Harden and his 42 points. Rockets now on a 4-game lead in the Western Conference. Chris Carter, is it time to consider the Rockets the favorites to win the NBA title?
Well, I don't know what else the Rockets would have to do during the regular season because, you know, we've been conversating about, you know, who they were, what style for which they played. They don't have any injuries. Can they do this in the playoffs? So we've been trying to find ways to discredit the best team in basketball. We have to acknowledge with the Warriors and the type of injuries they have, the #1 seed is definitely going to Houston, and they have been the best basketball team this season. I mean, like, it's not even that close. We know Golden State is talented, but what Houston has done, not only at home, on the road, not only beginning of the season, not only in the middle of the season, not only with their triple threat, Capella, Harden, and Chris Paul, like, every stat that we have says they are the best. Yes, they should be the favorite, but Golden State, man, 2 out of the last 3 years, they have won it. In the year they didn't win, they were up 3-1. So for me, with that type of championship pedigree, much respect to Houston, all right? But these are the champions, multi-champions, and they have to be knocked out before I would remove them. So it's a play on words. I believe Houston is the best team. I believe that, yes, they should be the favorite, but I got much respect to what Golden State has done the last 4 years.
It's hard for anyone to say Team X, whatever that team's, the Raptors, the Cavs, the Rockets, whomever, is a favorite over Golden State in a series. It is hard to convince yourself anyone could be a favorite over Golden State in a series because the conversation surrounding Golden State so often has been, would Golden State beat the 2001 Lakers? Would Golden State beat the 93 Bulls?
Where do they compare to history?
Right. Would Golden State beat the Showtime Lakers? And that Showtime Lakers conversation was happening before they added Kevin Durant. So I understand why this is such a hard curb for so many people to get over. But I will sit here this morning on March 21st and say right now, this moment, the Houston Rockets are the favorite to win the NBA title. That right now, this moment, what the Rockets have is the recency of this season and all of NBA history going for them. The recency of this season, 39-2 with their top 3 players. How about 41-4 with just Harden and Chris Paul? They've got that going for them. The recency of this season, they are the healthiest team in the league. The healthiest good team in this league. By no shock, the 2 healthiest teams have the 2 best records, Houston and Toronto. Cleveland's got injuries. The Thunder, the Spurs, the Timberwolves, the Celtics, Golden State, all of them have injuries. Houston is not dealing with any right now. And historically, what they have going for them is this. They are going to win at least 65 games. They have to go 8-3 down the stretch to get to 65 wins. I think they're probably going to win 66 games. 20 times in NBA history has a team won 65 games. 15 of those 20 have gone on to win the championship.
But would you still think they were the best if Golden State was at full strength?
But I don't believe Golden State will ever be at full strength this year. That's the thing. I don't think you go from having...
Well, then, obviously, Houston is the best.
No, Jenna. If Golden State was at full strength and Houston still had the same record, and they had played exactly... Yes, you would still be able to say that, but... I don't think we need to get...
You would still say that Houston is a better team than the Warriors with everything they've done this season at full strength, if no one went out with injuries, if Steph did go out with injuries.
But they still look... There were times they were disinterested. They're still their bench. Their problem with their bench. Andre Iguodala. Like, what
Okay,
is he
no,
going to
I
have
was just
in the
curious.
playoffs? Like, out of their bench players, Livingston and West, those have been the only two. They're younger players who we thought were developing. Like, those guys aren't role players yet and ready to play a role for that team.
And the universe you're describing doesn't exist in this way. Bless you. If Golden State had dealt with no injuries all year and they were still 4 games behind the Rockets, then of course we would say the Rockets are better, right?
Yes,
if they were
absolutely.
4 games behind them, the Rockets won the season series, and so we say, okay, they're only behind them because they've dealt with the injuries. But it's not like they dealt with the injuries back in November and they're now fully healthy. They're going to go into the playoffs, I believe, with Steph Curry with a little concern about that ankle. We'll see how Katie responds coming back from the ribs. So I believe Golden State's going to have their full complement of players in the postseason. They will have their full roster, but still not be 100%. You follow what I'm saying?
Except what flipped it? Because all season long we had the Golden State.
The Rockets never stopped winning. What flipped it is they're 27-2 since January 18th. Yeah. They're 21-3 against the next 8 best teams in the West. Like, the Rockets had a higher curb to mount to convince me. But, man, like, they just keep topping the last.
Let me give you a number that Nick went over. Try to break it down a little bit. Nick gave you a 45-game sample size. We're talking about, are they the favorite? In the 45-game sample size that has Chris Paul and Harden in the lineup, they've only lost 4 games. That's what it costs. That's what it costs to lose a series.
Right.
Yeah.
So now when you take a 45-game sample size, you're like, it took us 45 games to lose 4. Now, yes, they should be favored over all the teams in the West, and we know if they're favored over teams in the West, we know that they're favored to win it all.
And one last point on Golden State that is different this year than what we've seen the last 3 years. It's not just the 1 seed. It's the invincibility they have had at Oracle prior to this year. This year they have lost games at home that we simply have not, and we've seen them lose games healthy at home that we hadn't seen them lose all year. So you talk about the fact that they are no longer a given to win all their home playoff games. And against Houston, they're going to be on the road.
And the West is tougher than it's ever been.
Again, I'm not writing Golden State's death warrant. I'm not saying the Rockets should be 10-1. None of that. But right now, this moment, should the Rockets be the favorites? Yes, they should.
Amen. And finally, to the NFL draft. Penn State held their pro day yesterday. Running back Saquon Barkley did not hold his pro day yesterday. In fact, no running back coaches showed up, so Saquon decided not to participate. Many wondering if he's the best player in the draft. Saquon's not wondering that. He knows it. Take a listen.
You think you're the best player in this draft?
Yes, ma'am.
No doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
You're going ma'am on me, so I know you're serious. But top pick, top 2 picks, top 5 picks, I mean, do you set a goal?
No. The mindset I have that it don't matter where you draft me. I can tell you you're going to get a guy that's going to come in and it's going to work. That's how I got here, and that's the only thing I know. I can't promise you Rookie of the Year. I can't promise you 2,000 yards, but I can promise you that I'm going to come in and you're going to get a leader. You're going to get guys, a competitor who's passionate about the game, and the rest are going to take care of itself.
I don't doubt any of those things that he said. I think you very well could make a case for all of that. But, Cece, how confident are you that he'll be a can't-miss star? Obviously, we're talking about production on the field.
I'm very confident based on guys that I've seen come out of college, a couple guys in particular, what type of football they played, and ultimately his ability to be able to catch the ball. Football is a passing game. For football, it's a passing game. And if you have a running back that is a liability in the passing game, he's not a 3-down player. He comes into the league as a dynamic 3-down player immediately. And if you want to utilize him, another intangible is he can play special teams. He can return kicks. One of the best in college football this past season. But when you look at Le'Veon Bell, you look at Ezekiel Elliott, and what they did at Michigan State and Ohio State, Saquon, he plays in the same conference, Penn State in the Big Ten. And if you look at the number of yards, rush yards, 3,800 for Barkley, 33 for Bell, 3,900 for Zeke. The number of games they played, Barkley 38, Bell 40, Zeke 35. But you don't see a bunch of 30-carry games. You don't see a guy worn out. But what you do see is 1,000 yards receiving, 11 yards a catch. To me, that's a special running back.
Right.
Forget about his breakaway ability. His ability to be able to dominate in passing situation, I believe that makes him a special running back.
Bell and Zeke are the 3-down running back you're describing, and Saquon had more receiving yards in college than the two of them combined.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's not even to mention, as CC touched on, the special teams. We were standing on the field, at Ohio State and watched him open the game with a touchdown. Open the game, opening kickoff, took it 98 yards for a touchdown. Here's my favorite Saquon Barkley stat. His first 2 games in college football that he actually played in, 33 carries, 210 yards, 3 touchdowns. His last 2 games in college football, 34 carries, 214 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was a stud the day he walked into Happy Valley and a stud the day he walked out. Barring injury, this is a future Pro Bowl player. Does that mean you should draft him in the top 5? That's about the value of the position.
Right.
But will he instantly make an impact as an NFL running back? I say absolutely.
And that is a conversation we will continue to have probably. And the Giants are probably mulling over. Guys.
Andy's so polite, ma'am.
I don't want to talk about the man. Who wants to go sledding with me?
No, man.
Come on, CC. You love the elements.
No.
We're going sledding.
No.
We're back here
I
tomorrow
think there's a
morning
better
at
chance of us going
6:30.
big pimping.
We're not going